Hey guys, Trevor Hold here. Welcome to another episode of the Who Are We podcast. Today I've got a special guest with me, Christoffel. How are you today?
I'm doing good. It's a beautiful Monday in the Netherlands, or it is actually in Spain. I'm sitting in Madrid.
Yeah.
And I just had a coffee outside, getting some suntan. So, vitamin D is always helpful.
Life sounds good. Just before we get started, I'll just do a bit of disclosure. We're recording this session for YouTube, and we're going to put some promotional stuff on the internet. So basically just a general conversation about, identity and just trying to create awareness on who you are and hopefully just have a bit of fun, but hopefully some other people can be inspired to look at who they are and what they're doing with their life. So we'll get straight into it. Who is Christoffel and what does he stand for?
Who's Christoffel? That's I would say, if you would ask that everybody, who are you? And the funny part is, when I do a workshop in businesses, they always start talking what they do.
Yeah.
They start, I'm a CFO, I'm whatever they are. And if you say who I am, I would say I'm an enthusiastic, life-enjoying person with a mission in this life to make this world a little bit a better place.
Yep.
And say a little bit a better place because I think it's too massive to say I will change the whole world. I think up to now nobody ever did that. But I like actually that somewhere I could leave a legacy that just people have a little bit of better life, can achieve their own goals a little bit better. The toxic masculinity and the toxic work environments are less. I will not say they disappear totally because that's I would say almost impossible. But that's who I am and where I stand for. And I would say that gives my soul purpose right away, somewhere away.
Yeah, and that's quite humble, I suppose, in saying that. So it sounds like to me that you acknowledging that the world's a big place and it's difficult to make a big impact on everybody in the world, but if you can just touch a few people in that little way and just help them out in that little bit and create better outcomes for them, leave a bit of a legacy, you'll be quite content with that.
Absolutely. I'm also writing a book, and this is a third book. And say, of course, I would love that this becomes just as popular as Taylor Swift is. So don't get me wrong, because then it would have a massive impact. But then, if you think about Taylor Swift or whomever, they cannot reach everybody. The biggest influencer comes up to 250 million followers on whatever, and those followers doesn't mean they just follow them. Doesn't mean they get influenced by them. So my big dream is, of course, to get that audience inspired how we can make life a better, make this world a better place, their lives a better place. Having said that, if you only already achieved your own inner circle, your family, your friends, and the people who are connected with them have a better life, that's also a really rewarding thing. It's something what you can achieve and something you dream of.
So even just touching the people around you that you have direct contact with is like you say a good achievement anyway. So just trying to have that positive impact. So I talked to you. I heard you say toxic masculinity there. You're helping people with that, and in workplace structure, was it that you're helping with? Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit, or what's that all about?
What's it all about? I call it toxic masculinity because that's a word everybody knows. But what I mean is actually, you know that we have three brains: head, heart, and gut are scientifically proven to be a brain. So we'll not discuss why or how. Just Google it; it's proven. They have different responsibilities based on the neurotransmitters they release or the hormones they release. They influence our body and our mind and our decisions differently. And your head is all logic, your heart is all about connection, and that's why if you love there, your gut is all about survival. When I talk about toxic masculinity, is actually that we live our world mostly dominated by our gut. That's me, myself, and I. Almost like we live like all crocodiles, eaten or be eaten. And You see it in workplaces a lot, but also in normal life. Look at politicians, look at how people deal with each other. When you just are commuting on the highway, how people talk to each other, what people do to each other. And what I mean is that if we can bring actually living from the heart and the head, actually from our three brains to a higher awareness, then we create actually already a different world, because we don't only listening to a flight response, we also listen to a connection and compassion and love approach. That's what I mean, say, in life. In the workplace, it's the same. The last 20 years, actually, the engagements of people in companies did not almost change. It went from 20% to 30% of engagement, or 26 to 32% of engagement in the last 20 years. So 20 years ago, 26% engagement, now 32% engagement. That's 1 out of 3. That's a number that if your dentist would say my success rate of replacing a filling is 32%, you would run away right away out of the chair. But in companies, we find it so normal that 32% is good. That's horrendous. Because that means almost 70% is not engaged. Now, if you can change that toxicity, then we all have a better life. Because if you're not happy in your workplace, what happens when you come home? You feel frustrated. You bash at your partner, at your kids, at other people. So, and you know, that's also your mission. Life is too good actually to be wasted by all kinds of negativity and hate and all kinds of things.
And that's a good point. That's a good point that that you raise. The fact that what happens at work can come with you emotionally at home and have an impact on you. To suggest that I remember someone saying that because they belittled so much at work, that they come home and their exact words, and it's quite horrifying, and people don't like to hear it, but the truth of the matter was he used to go home and perform domestic violence to stroke his ego, because throughout the whole day he was getting bashed down, and then he goes home and takes that emotion and releases it in a negative impact to the people that he loves. It sounds like that's something similar to what you're suggesting there.
Absolutely, and it's not my invention. If you think at Freud, we all know Freud, the psychotherapist from 100 years ago, he already calls that as displacement. So it displays what you actually displace your frustration to somebody else who's most times weaker than you. So what you say, your boss yells at you, your colleagues yells at you, you come home, you start yelling at your partner, at your kids, at your dog. And so if we can change that in the workplace, and bullying in the workplace and all of what you describe is actually quote normal. And I say quote normal because it's of course absolutely not normal, but it is done so many times, especially now on social media, that they bully each other. Hey, did you see what Christoffel had for a crazy jumper? Oh, he must be a big F. And it's too crazy to be true. In your and me mind, because who would like to do that?
And I think with social media too, I had a few issues, throughout my career when you talk about these issues, and it's so easy for people to just type something and press enter and send or whatever, and the availability is right there for instant reaction, and we don't get a chance to breathe, I suppose. And one of the things, I don't do many emails anymore, but one of the things was, don't send an email when you're cranky, wait till morning, sleep on it first, and if you still feel the same, send it in the morning.
I think, Trevor, what you now say is a golden advice for everybody. Because if you think about your three brains, it makes sense. Anger is a gut-brain response. Anger is a fight-or-flight response. And what do we do when we're angry? We hit somebody or we run away. Now, so if you write an email, or you write it in a hitting way, or you write it in a defending, runaway way. But when you're in social media, you're anonymous. So it's extremely easy to write the most horrendous words but you're anonymous, and that's what's happening. For me, what LinkedIn is partly doing, and what some social medias almost are forced to do, is really to find who is whom. Because for me, it is what would be the best thing to do to make this world a better place is that the governments would say to every social media platform, just like we have in the newspapers, every subscriber on your platform should be identified.
Yes.
So there are no fake accounts. So if I'm sending as Christopher a horrible message to Trevor Hold, from I don't like your headphone. That Trevor could say, who wrote that? And they say, hey, Christopher, you wrote that. Okay, poof, you're kicked out of social media. Then I think at least 95% of all the domestic bullying on social media would right away disappear.
And then obviously, I know the reporting. It goes through some sort of process, probably AI process, and gets deemed okay and said we found nothing wrong with it or whatever, and nothing happens. But surely, if someone's complaining against something, it should be just cut off, just taken down, and then looked at, rather than going through a process where it could be up there for a couple of days and nothing happens to it either. I feel that's another area, isn't it?
The freedom of speech and hate speech are totally something different. The moment you start insulting somebody, if you think about it, and talk about three brains, if you do sports, let's say if you know NFL, what you like in the States, or in Europe, what we call real football, soccer. If you insult somebody, you get the yellow card, red card, and you're dismissed. The same even in ice hockey, what's rather a violent sport. You can do everything. You get a timeout. So it would be so much logical if we do those rules also for other things. So let people, what you said earlier, let the gut brain slow down and let your heart brain and head brain step in on what do I actually want to respond on this moment. Because it only takes almost 30 seconds to 5 minutes to cool down. That's the only time it takes.
And it's interesting. It's interesting that you want to focus, because that's something that I identified as well, working with business and creating better outcomes. Because if you have employees at their best, then your business is going to be more profitable. There's going to be less staff turnover. There's going to be less sick pay. All these sort of benefits that are associated with this work that you're doing. Is that what you're finding over there as well in them sort of countries? Is it similar sort of thing, like working with the business and you're helping the employee be their best, but it's helping the business as well? So it's a no-brainer, really?
That's really a no-brainer. I love sports, but the sports analogy is so simple. You look at an American football team. And say two persons are not really engaged. They're not running really the mile. They just wing it a little bit. What does the coach do? Replace them right away. So they bring the team up and they win probably. Or that is almost never done in companies. But it's the same comparison. If you change or bring the right people in the bus, you see a direct response. I coached a company last year, and the right hand and left hand of the CEO were having a fight together, and they were not willing really to help each other out. And the CEO said, "Chris, could you help us out?" Because it was really having an effect on all the output. Long story short, one person said, "It's not my issue. They should change." The other person said, "I like to change." The advice was, get rid of the person who doesn't like to change. And the CEO said, "Yeah, but he's rather good." I said, "Yes, but he's also extremely toxic because he attributes all the issues to somebody else. So he doesn't have self-reflection. So he's just a big F." And he said, "Chris, that's really hard to decide." I said, "Do you like to be a CEO or not?" I said, "Because this will bite you in the back." Long story short, he followed my advice, removed the person, got another person in. The other person I worked on. Eventually, also that person left, but it was out of another kind of reason. The productivity and the engagement of the whole team went up in research with more than 25%.
Yeah.
So just imagine 25% of increase in output, performance, engagement, happiness.
Yeah.
Again, and the CEO said later, Chris, I have to say, looking back at this was actually a no-brainer. I said, yes. He said, I said, I still cannot remember why I waited so long. So I said, no, that's very easy because you were never coached by me on this topic.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? Because like you say, like, you know, and people need to take self-responsibility, I suppose. If they don't want to be somewhere, they need to make to be where they want to be, I suppose, and you grow, and as you grow, you got to move forward and change, and people get stuck with the change, don't they? But yeah, I think like you say, if you can try and get a grip of it early, then it helps, does it? Yeah. So that's
now what's the big difference in companies and say sports teams? Like in a sport team, you right away see the results of your impact. If a coach changes, you see an impact on the field right away. In a company, if you change two people, there's not a direct response the day after in winning or losing a game. So in companies, because it's not a direct response, most managers and leaders are less daring because they don't see a direct response. You could almost compare it, and it's a strange comparison, but it does somewhere. People still smoke. People still have obesity. Why is that? Because you don't see a direct result. If you would smoke one cigarette and you would right away have a black spot in your face and blood would falling out, everybody would right away stop smoking because there's the direct response. But because you only get issues after 10, 20, 30, 40 years, people take a cigarette. Now, that's actually the same what happens in companies. There's not a direct response on their actions, so you just let it linger on.
Yeah.
And how many managers did you meet didn't say if it ain't broken, don't fix it?
Yeah.
And actually they were limping. But as long as they could limp, they said, okay, I'm still moving, it's okay. So
yeah. Oh, that's great. So working with the individuals, do you have any specific things that you can do to help them get on board or align, or what are you trying to do? Are you just talking to them conversations on what they want, or how are you managing that?
I will make it extremely simple, because I will do my extreme best. So say we have three brains, and as I said, your three brains have different kind of responsibilities. Your head is for logic, so I understand it. Your heart is for what does it do for my surroundings and my bonding. Your gut is how does it work out for me?
Yeah.
And they communicate. That's why sometimes you think it's good, but it feels shitty. Or you feel it's good, but you think this is not a wise thing to do.
Yeah.
We all had that feeling somewhere in our life. When you're hungry, go shopping, and you know what I mean. You're hungry, so you think, oh, let's take a candy bar. Your head says, not a candy bar, let's go for a salad. And your tummy says, candy bar. Your head says, salad. Now, that feeling. So when I coach people or work with people, what keeps people stuck? That inner dialogue. That one says left, one says right. One says candy bar, the other one says salad in their own topic, whatever it is. Yeah. So what I do with them is actually let them come aware that their three brains, in my words, have three different answers on this moment, or three different directions a lot of times. And from that awareness, I say, okay, now you come aware that your head says yes, your heart says no, and your gut says, I don't give an F, or whatever it says. What can we do with this information? Yeah. And when people already have that insight, it's like, I should listen to my gut much more, or I should follow my heart much more, or actually, and they almost have that light bulb moment right away. So what I work with people is actually becoming aware. You have three people in your body, let's call it like that, three wise men or three wise women or three wise transgenders, LGBTQIRS in your body, whatever you are, I don't care. And they have different kind of responsibilities and different kind of views of the world. The moment they agree with the solution, you're a winning team. The moment they disagree, you have an issue. And that's how I work with people. And I always say it's amazing because also I deliver training in this for leaders and managers. And every time I'm still surprised, although it shouldn't surprise me, every time in the training, people have really moments that they think, Chris, I had this issue for 20, 30 years, and it's now solved in 30 minutes. What on heaven's earth happened? I said, no, actually what happened is that you finally listened to one of those three.
Yeah.
Because up to now it was silent. It was suppressed based on your upbringing, that you were never allowed to speak your voice, that you were too gentle to people, that you actually never listened too much to your logic because they always called you a dumbass or whatever. They always labeled you. You took that label away, you're allowed to listen, and then you find insights. And why it surprises me every time, because it can go so extremely quick. The moment you start listening to that voice that is inside you, let's say somewhere silent, people almost have an overnight change. And I always think from, a really epiphany. And sometimes I really, when I see them the next time, I really ask them, and I said, how are you now? I'm doing great, Chris. I'm amazing. And I say, okay, stop fooling me around. Now just be freaking honest. How are you? I say, Chris, I'm not lying to you. I'm freaking amazing. And I know how it works, but it is sometimes too beautiful to be true that how we can so easily keep ourselves stuck. We're not listening to it. It's almost like having a stone in your shoe, limping. And you get used to the stone in your shoe, you never change it, and in the moment somebody takes the stone out, you walk normal again and think, oh wow, I'm great.
I should have done that years ago. And that's the first time I've actually heard that concept, and I like it. So you're talking about you got three brains, and you're talking about your gut being your flight or your fight or flight sort of mode, hunger or whatever. Your heart's about your people around you and the community, and your brain. Well, what was that reflecting on? Just the cognitive things.
Yeah, it's cognitive things. It's about understanding. Because did you ever? Now most people. And I have to say the same for me. Your head takes 20 to 25% of your daily energy consumption. It is a massive thing of having thousands, millions, billions of memories. What is the reason it takes 20% of your energy and has all those memories? The only reason that God or evolution made this, because there's a reason. The reason is to make a better prediction for tomorrow. If you once hit your head into something, the next day you know, okay, you have to bend over, you have to go left and right. That's why we have the beautiful head. It's all about logic and understanding to predict the future better. So that's your head. Your heart, as we know it of a lot. It's all about love, connection. Your heart is broken. My heart starts beating faster. That's physically true. Your heart starts beating faster if you connect with people. If you are with somebody you like, so we on this moment are releasing oxytocin from our heart brain because we have a good connection. And oxytocin is the cuddle or love hormone.
Okay.
Your gut brain is really releasing cortisol, adrenaline, neuroperiferinine, all that stuff. If you need a fight and flight.
It's amazing. That's good.
And the beauty is, it does that without our head even thinks about it.
Think about it.
Yeah, because as an example, when you get up in the morning and you put your feet out of the bed, you don't think, oh, I need more cortisol to get all the energy in my body. No. The moment you move, your body starts actually, your gut brain comes aware of that. Oh shit, there's movement happening. Okay, I release from the adrenal glands of my kidneys more cortisol. Your head is not involved in that whole freaking decision. So your gut brain can make independent decisions. And that's the beauty of it, that they can make independent decisions. The same if you fall in love, a lot of times your head doesn't know, but you can fall in love without that you think is logical. I would say just ask your parents about your first girlfriend, Trevor, and you know that is true.
That's right. That's right. No, that's good. And I heard you say you got a book coming out. Is the book on this sort of thing? Is it, or is it something that you've already written?
My first book I would just show you.
Wow! Congratulations.
That's relationships. Which brain is talking? Now, where we're talking about.
Wow,
that's all about. That's all about relationships. Most personal, but you can right away translate it to business. My second book is called leading with heart and grit. So the soft side and the hard side.
Yeah.
How your 3 brains intelligence will propel you as a leader or in your personal self-development. And that's much more, say, for the business world and for everybody who likes to now bring themselves to a higher level. So I'm now writing on that, and I have some coaches and leaders who are actually doing some proofreading and kicking my beautiful ass from this, add more this, kick that out, make it more this, make it more that.
Yeah.
Because I really like that. I really like that. That is really an engaging book. Coming back to Taylor Swift, people. I said to the people, I like that the book has the same impact as Napoleon Become Rich, or Carnegie's book How to Get Friends. I said, because the moment it gets that popularity, people will start changing their life, because then it's inevitable. They know that we have a heart brain and a head brain. They will start using it. Hence, the result will be they will become better people. Better people will not start displacing and kicking their partner when they come home. Will not be a toxic leader in a business anymore. And you and I, somewhere can sit down on a chair and think, hey, hallelujah, we did it, Trevor. We made the world a better place.
Well, I think you're already there, are you? Really, you got your first book out, your second, the way you do it.
The only thing is, of course, that's why it's also why I'm talking to you and to everybody else who likes to hear it, to make people aware of it, that this is coming, that this is there.
Yeah.
Because, I have, say, 5,000 followers maybe on Instagram. Taylor Swift, 250 million. As long as I don't have the 250 million to influence, this book will only sell a couple of thousand and stay in that little group.
Yeah. No, that's right. Well, I'll tag you in a few posts on LinkedIn and tag you in. I'm on YouTube. I haven't got that many followers either, but if we talk about it, the more we talk about it, the more we promote it. And I think it's a great, and I like that philosophy. I really do. I think there's got a lot of merit, and I'd like to thank you for sharing it today, because I think that's a lot of benefit in that. So thank you. Thank you very much.
There, Trevor.
No worries.
Thank you. Beautiful day, Trevor.
Same to you. See you, mate. Bye.
Bye.